This is WorkSpan TV. I'm Ryan Johnson from World at Work. I'm in the studio today with Ken Cardinal, one of the co-authors of World at Work's Handbook for Conducting Compensation and Benefit Surveys. And Ken, let's get right into it. Obviously, compensation and benefit surveys are a huge part of this field. So this book, is this one of these timeless books that every practitioner needs on their shelf?
Well, Ryan, I guess I'd like to think that it's a timeless book. Beth and I, Beth Florin's my co-author, we wrote this book because we felt there was a need for an operating manual, a guide for steering committee members, for survey sponsors, for survey vendors, maybe even a participant who's seeking to influence a survey. We thought there was a need for a guide to take them step by step through the process of designing or planning a survey and then implementing the survey, and then ultimately, if in the case of a recurring survey, managing the survey process over time. More than 20 years ago, I was on a survey steering committee, and there was nothing like this, and I wish there was, because at that time I was, I think, flying by the seat of my pants and doing the best job I could without any real guidance and without any real tools to assist me. And as a result, I think it was harder than it needed to be.
So maybe this is one of those timeless, I mean, the Dummies series is already taken, but maybe this is conducting a salary survey for dummies or something like that. Anyway, the first part of it here talks about planning, right?
Right.
That's really the essential first step. Why don't you just touch on that a little bit if you can?
Well, the book, it's not an extraordinarily long book. It only runs 110 pages, but about half of that is all about planning, because we believe that the amount of time you invest in the beginning will play enormous dividends downstream. There are huge challenges to producing a survey. The funny thing is it's really easy to ask a question. It's just really hard to do it well. And so if you invest time in thinking about what is the need you're trying to fulfill and what value are the participants going to receive from the survey, and simply go need to value and all the steps that need to occur in between, then you're going to be way far down the path. Too often, people just start, well, wouldn't it be nice to know this? And yes, and then as soon as we know this, wouldn't it be nice to know that? And of course, you get to thinking, boy, I'm curious, we're all curious, but the thing you want to pay attention to is, if you're not going to use a piece of information to make a decision, then you shouldn't be asking it. If it can help you to make a decision, by the way, not acting is also a decision, but if it can help you to make a decision, then that's the kind of information you want to pursue. You also want to pursue information that benefits lots of people, not just one, because too often somebody will say, well, I need this, but if no one else needs it, why are you asking it in a forum that is particularly like a recurring survey? Maybe just do a little ad hoc and then you can answer that person's question. There are better ways, and so if you invest the time in planning, you'll solve that.
So the book really does a terrific job of laying out these planning steps, and then of course, after the planning comes the data collection, right? And what are some of the pitfalls that you see when people go to the data collection phase?
There are no insurmountable pitfalls, but there are plenty that can occur. And one of the worst is it really comes down to communication. Can you communicate effectively with participants? All too often, we're busy, we don't have time to spend on things, we're pulled in 20 different directions at any one moment in time, and a survey requires focus. It requires focus on, for example, what are the jobs that are included, and do I carefully read the job descriptions, and do I carefully read the level descriptions, and take the time to match my jobs in. One of the best ways of matching, for example, would be to reach out to your line managers and share with them the descriptions and levels, and let them assist you with the matching. But that takes time. And so now you're being pulled in this direction, how do I get the participant to spend the effort? And a lot of that comes right back down to, if they perceive that there is value to them in the outcome, if they think their needs are going to be met, maybe they're going to look good, maybe they're going to shine within their organization, maybe they're going to contribute to the organization, then they're going to invest more effort. And that's all about how do we manage those expectations. Now then, of course, along the way you have little things like, did you send the materials to the participant and did they get caught in their spam filter so they never received them? Did you send an internet link to the questionnaire and they clicked on it and for whatever reason it malfunctioned, and so what happens when you click on something and it doesn't work? well, I move on to something else. The end result is you get way down the path, maybe you're approaching the survey deadline, and they haven't done their work because they encountered some little obstacle, but at the same time, they hit an obstacle and they just turned their attention to something else they could be productive at. They didn't go back and solve it. And so you never know as a survey vendor or as a survey sponsor or steering committee or whatever. And all of these little challenges build up to basic obstacles to getting a survey done.
Well, I want to thank Ken Cardinal from Meyer Partners. He's the co-author of the new World at Work publication called Conducting a Compensation and Benefit Survey. This is Ryan Johnson for World at Work and WorkSpan TV.